Okay, Champions League, guys, I want you to get on with training. The rest of you, get in behind. Sorry, stay here, sorry. New Zealand farming voice there. Okay, you guys really need to pick up your game, okay? We can't keep dropping points in these domestic games. It's going to come back and haunt us. We have such a good lead heading into these Champions League qualifiers. I need you boys to be less sloppy. No one likes sloppy seconds, okay? Big performance, otherwise these guys are going to have to back up in the league as well, and that's going to hurt us overall, okay? Big improvement, boys. No more sloppy seconds. Hello everyone and welcome back to episode number 36 of Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and today we continue to look to make the Champions League for this 2024-25 European season. We are in the third qualifying round of the Champions Path and we are taking on Ukraine's Dynamo Kyiv in today's episode over 2 legs to see if we can make it to the final playoff, and a win in today's game will at least guarantee us a place in the Europa League for this season as well. So if you are looking forward to today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But since yesterday's episode, which was the second qualifying round of this Champions Path, we took on Azerbaijan's Qarabag. Very interesting game, that one. If you missed the episode, I'll leave a link to it above my head in the top right corner. We have just played the one domestic game, as you might have been able to tell by the intro. Didn't quite go to plan. A 0-0 draw against Kyiv, which continues this really poor little run of form for our standards that we've got going at the moment. Yet another orange dot there, and that means that off the back of that game, we are now tied on points with Kyiv after each team has played the same amount of games, and they have the edge on us thanks to goal difference. So currently we lie in second. Not too panicky yet, but it's certainly not ideal after we had quite a nice gap at the start of this Champions League qualifying campaign. We have blown that with the number of draws that we have had recently. Hopefully we can get back on track once we do finish up European qualifying. I think there's a little bit of a gap in between then and the start of the actual European competition. So hopefully we can get through that, at least somewhat keeping neck and neck with Kyiv, if not with a little bit of a lead, and then we can push on a little bit more once we are able to use the first team in a few of those games. We do still have 2 games against Kyiv left in the season. We are yet to play those. Those are going to be some big games when we do get around to those ones and deciding who's going to lift the league title and, of course, make their way into the Champions League qualifiers for next season, because that would be a little bit of a regression considering how well that we have done so far in these Champions League qualifiers this season if we do have to go back down into Conference League qualifiers. So hopefully we can win the title, but not quite going to plan off the back of another draw 0-0 with Kyiv in the league. But today we are taking on Dynamo Kyiv, the champions of Ukraine, in this third qualifying round. A quick look at them before we get into today's game. They have beaten RFS in the most recent round. That was a team who are from Latvia, so as you would expect from them there to make their way into this stage of the competition. Champions of Ukraine, higher reputation club than us, as you would expect. As we went through earlier, not too many familiar names in this team. Brooks at centre back, Zygankov on the wing, but otherwise it's a team that we might just have a chance of beating in this third qualifying round, make our way into that last playoff for this Champions Path. And if we did get to that, of course, and lost that, we would still end up in the Europa League, which would be an improvement on the Conference League where we ended up last season. If we lose this today, we will be entering a Europa League playoff. So ideally we win today's game and we get a nice little upgrade in the competition that we are going to be in this time around in Europe. So that would be very nice winning this one, albeit we are no doubt going to be the outsiders for this game against a team who have won the Ukrainian title 2 times in the last 4 years, and over the most recent history, pretty much the last 20 years or so, in game and in real life, it's been between them and Shakhtar in terms of the teams who have been winning the Ukrainian title. So a real powerhouse of Ukrainian football here. It'll be interesting to see how we get on against these guys. In terms of the team that we do have for the first game of today's episode, the first leg, which is at our home away from home in Reykjavik. We'll have a quick look at the medical centre. That's not too bad. Everyone is fit, but it does not mean that everyone is available. Of course, we picked up a lot of cards in the second leg of yesterday's episode, and what that means for the team that we're going to be putting out for the first game of today's episode, we have really had to shuffle things up at centre back. Both of our centre backs are suspended. Mbiyamba, because he picked up that red card, and Corbo picked up a yellow as well. That means he's also suspended for the first leg of today's episode. So we're having to start a few unfamiliar names. We've got Sigurd Bjornsson, who's a player that we brought in quite recently to the club in the last transfer window. Got him on a free transfer from Vesmanasia. Not as good as we thought he would be when we initially signed him, only 1.5-star current ability, but he is a good solid centre-back option and is homegrown in nation, so does help us fill those European registration slots quite nicely. Otherwise, we'd probably have Kurt Shaw in the squad ahead of him, but he is not registered, so Sigurd Bjornsson is going to be starting in one of the centre-back slots, and alongside him, a player who did used to get a fair bit of game time for us, not so much recently, but Arna Kristjansson is the other centre-back, 14 heading, 1.84 metres tall. Hopefully he can do a decent job for us in this first leg before both Mbiyamba and Corbo do come back for the second leg. So we're definitely quite weak at centre-back for this upcoming game. Raul Prada on the bench can also go there, but he is a little bit short. Not quite what I want at centre-back, but if either one of these two players aren't performing, that is an option that we do have on the bench, as well as Lillamosa, who's more of a DM, but he can also cover centre-back as well. So we do still have options at centre-back, but we're going with two players who are naturals in that position to see if they can get us through this first league without too much damage. We're probably just going to be happy with a draw from this first league, truth be told. We're only being one goal behind, and then we can unleash our full-strength team, hopefully, in the second league and see if we can ambush them away from home. But it's going to be an interesting tie, this one, with the way that suspensions have affected us at the back. Otherwise, though, we are at full strength. Everyone else there you would expect us to have there. The other change, of course, Goncalves has left us. That means that Christian Coffey comes onto the bench in place of him. Ledson back as well after his injury. We've actually got rid of Arnason off the bench. That's where Coffey comes in. Hasn't been doing much for us, our young Icelandic striker. So Coffey can come on. And if we need to replace Pedro up front, Isidore can go up front in place of him with Coffey coming on to just build that right wing role. So we do have options. A little bit weak in the striking area, but I feel we can shuffle that front three around and still be okay with our options on the bench. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this first league with that centre-back situation. And we will be back shortly for the first league from the Laugardas Villa to see if we can get a decent result to take into the away league here against Dynamo Kyiv. And 6 minutes gone, we do have the first highlight, us at home being in the green, Dynamo Kyiv in the white, and we start to play out from the back. Nicolucci for the long ball forward, trying to pick out Pedro there, but the Dynamo Kyiv defence do get in the way, and Bushan looks to run this out from the back, does the goalkeeper, plays that forward to Lucene. There's a few interesting starters in this team. There's no side Gankov, which is interesting, but they do have Jesus Vallejo at the back, John Brooks on the bench, so a little bit of change there from Dynamo Kyiv for this game. A good early chance for them there, though. Good save from Sarah Fellini. They have a corner, which we do deal with, but Shepalev is there to try and tidy things up, and they do get this back into the centre of the field just outside the box. Play that back, and the highlight does continue for now, albeit now it stops, and after about 12 minutes, it does remain 0-0. You can see their formation there, Dynamo Kyiv. A little bit different to what we were expecting, but not too long off the back of having a look at that. It is another highlight in their favour, albeit we do get possession back after a bit of an aerial ping-pong battle, and it is Leandro Diaz making his way down the left-hand side, trying to curve one in there for Pedro. The goalkeeper plays it short. I thought we might get on the end of that there briefly, and then good retreating defence from Nicolucci Caviglia. He's going to be very important for us today, is our star midfielder, and we are back on the attack again. Diaz puts another ball in, falls straight into the hands of the Dynamo Kyiv goalkeeper, and after about quarter of an hour, it does remain 0-0. We're looking maybe slightly more threatening at the moment. Few decent chances either way. We haven't got too many shots off, though, to be fair. They have one really good chance, but they are back on the attack here. Lucene puts that in for Boyakzeski, I believe that is. Apologies, probably wasn't right, but good save yet again there from Sarah Fellini, and they do now have a corner. Hopefully, we can hold on off the back of this and keep it at 0-0, but Salotta is there at the near post. That's what we've been doing most of the season from set pieces, and they go 1-0 up just after the quarter of an hour mark here to Dynamo Kyiv. They've probably had the runner play in that opening bit, even though I was sort of going, it was quite even earlier. Good goal in the end, and after trying to hold on early, we do go 1-0 down. Up to the 31-minute mark now, and we look to play out from the back and get something going in this game, get a decent shot on target. We've been down that area enough times so far, but just haven't quite got any shots off. Dynamo Kyiv, when they've got down our end, are looking quite threatening. And Vitinho this time will bury that in the top right corner, and Dynamo Kyiv might just be making the most of our lack of good centre-backs in this game. At the half-hour mark, we go 2-0 down, and it's already looking like we might be making our way into a Europa League playoff in tomorrow's episode. Just no one picking up Vitinho there. They get in behind far too easily, and after half an hour, it is 2-0 Dynamo Kyiv. And that is half-time in this game. It has not been a good half for us, not totally unexpected with that centre-back situation, but we are 2 goals down, and Christiansen, our left centre-back, is struggling there at the moment quite considerably. In fact, our front three also struggling, but I don't think we've created that many good chances so far, so we're going to make one change here. What I think we're going to do is bring Raul Prada on for Christiansen. We'll see what the natural left-back can do at centre-back. Stats-wise, it's not going too terribly, but just need to improve that defence, because at the moment, we might be in trouble, might already be in a position where we can't quite turn this around in the away leg. 2-0 down as we're about to kick off the second half of the first leg. And up to the 57-minute mark now, time for us to make our second substitution. Bjarkeson's picked up a yellow card and also on a 6.3 rating, so we'll take him off for Ledson. We've got a few more shots off in the second half, starting to even up the stats, but we are still 2-0 down with just over a half hour to play of the home leg. And shortly off the back of that substitution, in fact, before the substitution can even be made, a highlight has started, and Bjarkeson did put a ball into the mix there. It was headed back out, but he is in position again, and now we get it out to Leandro Diaz. Bjarkeson, edge of the box, puts one in. Wow, Pedro down for Isidore. I think the goalkeeper's pushed that onto the underside of the crossbar, and it finds the back of the net, and I think we are right back in this game now. 2-1, just shy of the hour mark before we could make those substitutions. We do get a goal back, and that is exactly what we need. A good header down there from João Pedro after the ball from Bjarkeson, and in the end, Isidore just thumps that through the goalkeeper's hands, and it's 2-1 with only a half hour left. And now up to the 69-minute mark, nice time for us to make our last substitution, I think. I think we'll take Swiderski off here for Gavi Oli. That will be our last sub. There's a few other players we could be taking off on red hearts, but I think we maybe lose less quality in that area of the field with that substitution than we would with doing other substitutions. Still looking potentially for one more goal to even this up with only 20 minutes left of the first leg. 74 minutes gone. It's a free kick in a dangerous area here to Dynamo Kyiv, and a couple of quick fire shots there in the end of players offside, but we get away with that, and it does remain 2-1. Oh dear. That is dreadful news. Okay, we are going to have to switch Bonnet around here with Nicolucci Caviglia, because just after making our last substitution, he is going to be forced from the field, our best player. That could be a killer blow on these two legs. Still 2-1 down with 5 minutes left, and also a man down. Okay, up to the 88-minute mark here, I think we're just going to try and change something just to see if we can actually hold on to this result and maybe even grab another goal to try and level things up. So we'll up the tempo, but also time waste a little bit. I know that seems counterintuitive, but we'll just see what happens with that. And at the 92-minute mark, it is a free kick here to Dynamo Kyiv. If they got one more goal here, they would be right in the box seat for the second leg. But at the moment, I still feel like we might be in this with our best centre-backs returning for that second leg. And we do get the ball back with only 2.5 more minutes left of injury time in this game. Can we create one more chance? Bamba back over for Isidore in behind the defence. Can he put this in to the centre? Tight angle, tries to square one, but unfortunately one of the Dynamo Kyiv players does clear that away. But we are back in possession there thanks to Leandro Diaz. Leads on in for João Prada. Can't quite get on the end of that, but yet again We get possession back. Bonnet, Isidore, back out for Bamba. What can he do out on the right-hand side? Curves one in. Let's on far post and an equaliser, and we have got this back to all square with 10 men yet again. Boy, do we know how to score goals with 10 men, and immediately we are going to slow the tempo right back down. That could be a massive goal in terms of this two-legged tie after being 2-0 down at halftime. We have got this back to all square. We will time waste frequently as well because a 2-2 draw considering our team and how things were looking at halftime, and the fact we're down to 10 men is a good result. It's a lovely ball from Bamba, and Ledson off the bench gets a massive goal, and hopefully that will do it for the first leg of this game, and it will. That is a quite good result for us in the end there, 2-2 after being 2-0 down at halftime. But I suppose we are a little bit concerned about that injury to Nicolucci Caviglia, so we're just going to have to wait and see how serious that one is. But that was a very good comeback for us after they got goals to Soluta and Vitinho in the first half. So we'll tell the boys we're pretty happy with how they came back to get a draw out of that game. We'll just progress forward a little bit off the back of that press conference and see what that injury is to Nicolucci Caviglia, see how serious it is, how long he will be out for. We're not quite sure yet. You'll have a quick look on the left-hand side. You can see the other results from the first leg of that third round of Champions League qualifying. We make our way back to the inbox. HK pick up another win in the domestic league, but we make our way over. Here is the injury. Oh dear. He's going to be out for pretty much the entire group stage of the Champions League or Europa League, Conference League, whatever one we end up in. And he's also, because of that, going to be out for the rest of the domestic season as well. So that is a horrific injury for our best player, our club captain these days, in Nicolucci Caviglia. So that's kind of brought down the mood a little bit off the back of those two late goals to get that back to a draw. So that means we are going to be without Nicolucci Caviglia for the remainder of the season pretty much. It's a big injury, but we are still alive going into the second leg of this third round Champions League qualifier, and we will be back and show you guys highlights of a domestic game that we've got in between now and then, a Malka-Bikeren quarter-final against defending champions from the second tier in Fjolnir. And here are the highlights from the Malka-Bikeren quarter-final. Took us a while to get through these guys in this game, but at the hour mark, well, Pedro did come off the bench and got an early penalty since he came on to make it 1-0, and then only a few minutes later, he gets a header to pick up a quick-fire double. It was looking a bit more comfortable at that stage, 2-0. And then with 20 minutes to go, we had a free kick. They did clear it away, but Ian Carlo puts it in. Kurt Shaw on a yellow card picks up a goal to secure the result for us. Very comfortable 3-0 win, which means the defending champions of the Malka-Bikeren have been defeated, and we make our way through to the semi-final. Of course, we were not in the Malka-Bikeren last year, but did win it the last time we were in this competition back in that season when we did get promoted up from the one deal. A few interesting changes to that second 11 you can see there, and it does appear like it somewhat works. Still to wait for a little bit of impact from the bench in this game, but we did put Coffee up front in place of Arneson, and that meant that Nygaard could get a start, our new signing, out on the right wing. And with Nicolucci Caviglia being injured, it does mean that Gavioli goes into the box-to-box midfield role in our first 11, says Boscolo Shio is back in the mix for that second 11. Didn't have the greatest game this time around, but we did enough to pick up the win and make our way through to the Malka-Bikeren semi-final, and that is going to be against the team that we met in the Dilra Bakar final earlier this season in Lechner Reykjavik, and that is coming up in a couple of weeks' time, right at the end of August. But before then, we do have the second leg of this Champions League third qualifying round against Dynamo Kyiv, 2-2 after the first leg, and our team going into this game looks stronger for the most part. Obviously, as I said before, with Nicolucci Caviglia being out, that means Gavioli replaces him in the midfield. In terms of the bench, it means that we have brought Sigurd Bjornsson onto the bench just so we have a little bit more centre-back cover, with, of course, Sakularak being able to cover the midfield alongside Lilamose, and both of our first-choice centre-backs are back as well. Hopefully, that means we're going to put in a little bit more of a solid defensive performance in this upcoming game, but we are still right in it, albeit away from home. It's going to be interesting. We need a win to make our way through to that final round for the Champions League playoff and to make sure the worst that we do for Europe this season is the Europa League group stage. And we'll be back shortly to see if we can get the job done from the NSC Olimpiaski in Kyiv. 6 minutes gone, we have the first highlight here of this deciding second leg. Dynamo Kyiv have just changed things up a little bit for this league, playing a 4-2-3-1, slightly different formation and personnel to what they had in the first league. We try and put a ball in there to pick out Wow Pedro, can't quite find him now. Bjarkason just outside the box, slots through Isidore and gets there in the back of the net. He is onside, and Wilson Isidore puts us 1-0 up. Nice and early. We are going to just make sure that Gavioli does ease off tackles because he picked up a very early yellow card, and we don't want what happened in the last game to happen in this one, but that is a big early goal, and that might give us a little boost of confidence. We have certainly turned things around since the first half of the first league. 2-0 in the second half to get this back all square, and that's a nice finish there from Isidore from the through ball from Bjarkason, and we go 1-0 up nice and early in this deciding second leg. 28 minutes gone, it is a throw in here for Dynamo Kyiv. They put one into the mix, but that falls straight into the hands of Serafellini. As I was saying, I'm hoping for a much more solid display at the back this time around with our two first choice centre backs back and pretty much an entirely first choice back line as well. But we are on the attack after that clearance from Serafellini. Diaz puts us in. Wow Pedro back for Gavioli, Sviderski, Isidore slide tackle forced to Wow Pedro. It's a very fortunate goal, but we will take it. And after two highlights in the second leg, we go 2-0 up away from home, and we are just clicking at the perfect time, it feels like, in this tie. We were very sloppy in the first leg, but we have kicked into life off the back of the second half of that first leg, and we have really hit the ground running here away from home. 2-0 up after half an hour of this second leg. And straight off the back of that, we are shown a highlight from the kickoff. So Dynamo Kyiv might have a chance here to get right back into the swing of things. I thought there, I think it was Bjarkason who nearly got the ball back for us, albeit he would be on the wrong side of the pitch. But either way, Dynamo Kyiv did keep possession. Little bit of a loose first touch there from Diaz, but we are back on the ball, and hopefully we can create one more chance here and maybe make this gap even bigger. Wow Pedro out to Bjarkason, just gets that beyond his man. Can he put a ball into the mixer? He does. It's Isidore, far post, tries to put that right into the centre of the box there for Wow Pedro. Bamba now puts one in. Dynamo Kyiv on the edge of the box look to clear it. They give that straight back to Mbiamba, and we do look to build again, but it's been a very good half from us so far. Bjarkason with a goal. We are on fire here in Kyiv. It is 3-0 Völsungur and 5-2 on aggregate, and surely that will be enough with only an hour left. There should be no way that we can blow this with our first choice back line in for this game. It's a really well taken goal. Our front three are on fire today, and what a start to this game it has been. We are 3 goals up inside the first half of the second leg away from home. And that is half time in the second leg, and what a half that has been from us. Complete and utter domination. We have picked up a few yellow cards, which is a little bit concerning, but holding on to this game pretty well at the moment. In fact, very well. 3-0 up after that 2-2 draw at home. Those 2 late goals might be oh so important in terms of deciding who's going to be making their way through from this tie into the final round playoff. I think we might have the opportunity here to make a few substitutions with that 3-goal cushion. And I think we'll take a few players off on yellow cards. Carlo is one of those who can come on for Bamba, and also I think we might just take Bjarkason off here as well, because if he picks up a yellow card in this game, he is going to miss the first leg of that Champions League final round playoff. So we'll take him off for leads on 2 substitutions at half time, but very happy with how this is going. 3-0 up on the day, 5-2 up on aggregate as we enter the last 45 minutes. Up to the 50-minute mark, we have our first highlight here of the second half, a free kick to Dynamo Kyiv, and they do play it short. They have brought Gankov on off the bench for the first time in this tie. He is on the field, the promising winger, and they are on the attack here through Depena. Gets on the edge of the box, puts that in for Basidin, and that is a wonderful finish from Arthur Basidin, and they are right back in this, albeit we do still hold a 2-goal lead, but That certainly makes things a little bit more interesting for the last 40 minutes of this tie, nice and early in the second half. That's a really good finish, beats the goalkeeper at his near post, but don't think there's much Sarah Fellaini can do about that one. And the advantage goes down to 2 goals early in the second half. 59 minutes gone, yet again Dynamo Kyiv are on the attack, albeit we do get possession shortly off the back of that highlight starting. Potentially, we can take our advantage back out to 3 goals. Well, Pedro, one-on-one with the keeper, puts it wide. That was a great chance. It remains 3-1 at the hour mark. And it remains 3-1 just after the hour mark. And I think it's time for us to make our last substitution. Gavioli onto a red heart and on a yellow card as well for him. We will bring Sekularek on. That's our last substitution. Still 2 goals up with just under a half hour to go. 76 minutes gone. We have another highlight. Only 14 minutes left for us to hold on to a 2-goal advantage as we do look to play out from the backs for Dursky, who we have moved in to the box-to-box midfield role with Sekularek coming on the field. He is more used to playing in the Carolero, but we're holding the ball up nicely here as we look to hold on. And a really good performance this after being 2-0 down at halftime in the first league. And we just knock it about quite patiently here at the moment. Swiderski back to Bonnet, not making too much ground, but wasting a little bit of time, which is not a bad thing when you are 2 goals up. But we now look to press forward. Well, Pedro makes his way towards the edge of the box, back for Ledson. Tight angle, slide tackles Swiderski. Sekularek out to Isidore, back for Ian. Carlo tries to unleash one there. Top left corner, but it goes high and wide. But we stay 2 goals up with only 10 minutes left. 84 minutes gone, and we have a throw-in close enough to inside the final third. And we knock it about here on the right-hand side. Carlo up for Isidore, just gets the ball back for us, tries to put one into the mixer. It's blocked, but Sekularek is there to tie things up. That's a wonderful ball from Carlos. Swiderski gets his head on the end of that, and surely that is going to do it. 4-1 up on the day, 6-3 up on aggregate with only 6 minutes left in this tie. We'll just make sure that while Pedro eases off tackles, we do not need any more silly red cards heading in to that final Champions League playoff coming in tomorrow's episode. I think we can be safe saying that now. It's a good headed goal, gets through the hand of the Dynamo Kyiv goalkeeper, and with 5 minutes left, surely now we're going to be making our way through to the final qualifying round, the playoffs of the Champions League, albeit that's very sloppy at the back from us there. Mykola Shaparenko gets a goal, just given far too much space there at the far post, as now Ledson picks up a yellow card, so we'll just make sure that he is easing off tackles. But with only 4 minutes left, 2-goal advantage, I still think we're pretty safe here, but this has been a pretty entertaining end to this game. He was just given far too much space at the far post there, was Shaparenko. As I said, we will now go on to frequently time wasting just to absolutely make sure that we are 6-4 up with only a few minutes left of this tie. Surely we are going to get the job done now. Only 2 minutes left of injury time. We have a throw-in. Ledson inside the box, given quite a bit of room back for Swiderski. It's a slide tackle, a little bit messy, and it is Dynamo Kyiv here on the counter-attack. I thought Depena there could have picked out someone. I thought he was through on goal there, one of the attackers, but he did not look to pick him out. And we are back in possession. And wow, Pedro absolutely pinches the ball there off one of the centre-backs. Long shot. What a goal that is for wow, Pedro's 25th of the season. 5-2 up on the day, 7-4 up on aggregate. And now we are surely safe as houses. It's a really sloppy touch there from Audets. And wow, Pedro from a long way out just curves that inside the near post past the goalkeeper. It is a wonderful goal, his 25th of the season, and we do go 5-2 up, 7-4 on aggregate, albeit straight off the back of that, we have yet another highlight, albeit surely now it is just a case of waiting for the full-time whistle to blow. We should be in no danger of losing this with a 3-goal advantage, and luckily we are not, because Depena gets another goal back here for Dynamo Kyiv. So a lot of action late. It's been a frenetic ending to this game, but I still feel like we're pretty safe with a 2-goal advantage, only 30 seconds left. It's a wonderful ball in there for Depena to get on the end of with that volley with his left foot into the bottom left corner. But we are right near the full-time whistle. We are well over injury time now, and we have got the job done in Kyiv, and we are making our way through to the final round of playoffs for the Champions League. The worst that we can do this season is end up in the group stage of the Europa League. So that's already an improvement on what we did last season, making the group stages of the Conference League. A superb first half performance there. Was a bit helter-skelter in the second half, but after a 2-2 first leg, we win the second leg 5-3, and we'll find out shortly who we will be playing in tomorrow's episode, the final qualifier for the Champions League group stage. And back in the inbox off the back of that very good win in Kyiv, very good first half of that second leg as well as the second half of the first leg. Those 90 minutes, I think, were quite crucial in amongst those 180 and making sure that we did make our way through to the final round of Champions League qualifying. We get a couple of payouts of £85.5 thousand, and the team that we are going to be playing in tomorrow's episode to try and make our way through into the group stage proper of the Champions League is Turkey's Fenerbahce, obviously in the Champions path. The defending champions of Turkey currently find themselves 5th in the Super League. That, as I keep saying, is probably going to be our toughest test so far in this year's Champions League qualification, with that Turkish league being rated quite a bit higher than the Ukrainian league. Trying to see if there's any familiar names in amongst that starting 11 that Fenerbahce do have at the moment. Doesn't quite look like it. It'll be interesting to see if we can upset the Turkish side and make our way into the Champions League, proper Champions League group stage draw, which hopefully we will also have coming up in tomorrow's episode, should we get the job done. Just having a quick look at how regularly they have won the Super League recently. In this most recent season was their first league title since 2014. So it's been a while since Fenerbahce have been in the champions path of the Champions League qualifying, but this year they are, and they now just have to beat us if they want to make their way through to the group stages of the Champions League. Surely they will be favourites for that, but we've done pretty well to get this far. And even if we did lose that game, making the Europa League group stages would still be a pretty good accomplishment for us here at Völsungur in our first season since turning professional. But that is what you've got to look forward to in tomorrow's episode. It is a final shootout with Fenerbahce to see whether we will be in the Champions League or Europa League for this upcoming European season. But that's going to do it for today's episode. If you did enjoy it, I hope you did, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video. And if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. And until tomorrow, where we're going to have these games against Fenerbahce, which if we have a look at our schedule, are actually straight off the back of this game. And in between now and then, a quite big league game we have coming up against HK. That is a quite important 3 points if we want to keep pace with Reykjavik at the top of the domestic league. But until tomorrow for those 2 legs against Fenerbahce, where we try and book our place into the Champions League group stage, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.